Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, Eddie Marcus, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. Trying to come back to you one more time, see if I can share a message with you. You know what, I want to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Check this out. I got up this morning having done a couple of posts for you yesterday. And I'm up this morning from the same pressure that I have to wake up from almost every morning. It's a nightmare of the world in which I live. A world in which I live. I spent over half my life, I remember when I was about 27, 28, my early teaching, my baby, toddler, growing up treatment came back. You know, raise up a kid in the way you think you should be. Well, it started coming back when I got about 27, 28 years old. I wanted to change because I saw so many things out there in the world that seems like it was pure hell. And I didn't want to be a part of that. I always dreamed of being a part of thy will being done on earth as it is in heaven. And not only that, I plan to be a part of the creative process of that. And so this time I started contemplating that. Everything started changing, brother. And when you start acting like you care, or when you start caring and start having some compassion for this and that, you're going to find out you're in a lot of trouble. Now let me see if I can start with some scenario that we could all identify with easily. Many of us who are listening to me right now are parents. Parents, parents, parents. Parents, you know how you are. They call you parents first of all, not because you're a man or woman, but because you got children. And you have responsibilities, not only to feed, clothe, and take care of your kids that way, but to raise them in such a way that they could live and carry forward the lifestyle and those things that are important to life itself based upon what your parents have known, practiced, and taught you. And you know how it is when you want your kids to be even better than you. You want your kids to have access to those things that you couldn't even have access to. And you try to raise them up in a wonderful way. And when they're babies, I guess they are wonderful. When they are toddlers, they start acting strange. But when they get teenagers, they go stone crazy. I say when they get teenagers, they go stone crazy because they think they're smarter than the parents. Everything the parents know is out of date. The parents are stupid and ignorant. And it's a new day, the young folks say. And so they kind of disregard. And so the parents, all of that time trying to train them and educate them on certain matters, now as soon as they walk out of the house, even in elementary school, middle school, high school, or you by high school, you ranked. It's peers, your peer pressure. You tell your kids this and that. You told your kids don't smoke. Peers say let's smoke. You told your kids don't indulge in sex. Your peers say let's indulge in sex. You say you told your kids not to deal in drugs. Your peers say, let's deal in drugs. And everything that you were telling them not to do, their peers were saying, come on, let's do. And who do you think won? The peers. They won. Now that doesn't mean that everybody lost out about everything. Some people, there were certain things they perhaps wouldn't want to do. And, you know, for instance, somebody say, well, let's go rob somebody. Well, some people, oh, I'm not doing that. They didn't want the consequences that might come from that. They might get killed, end up in jail. They didn't want that. So let's do some of these other things that they really didn't want to do because of the consequences. You know, they kind of strayed away from, not everybody. Some people engage them in anyway, but a lot of people say, well, I'm not going to that. But if you couldn't measure it by a consequence being jail or embarrassment or something like that, they might just do it. In other words, telling your boys not to engage in sex, as long as when they got big enough to think about it, they couldn't wait. Telling your girls not to engage in sex, as soon as they got big enough to think about it, they couldn't wait. I mean, it didn't even make sense. Telling them don't smoke, don't engage in drugs and all that kind of stuff, didn't make sense. They do it anyway. Why? Because they're smarter than you. It didn't work for you, but they are smarter than you. And it will work for them. I made these notes, ladies and gentlemen, that I could possibly refer to. And it really is something else. And I want to tell you again, when I used the parents, I wanted to use the parents because I wanted to give you some idea of what I'm referencing when I talk of God as being a parent. And I say that because they say God is the author of all things in existence. And they gave God a pretty good report, because it was said that God was able to make the sky and all the heavenly bodies and keep them in their wonderful places. Able to make the earth and everything that happens on the earth, the valleys, the rivers, the oceans, the trees, the grass, the fruits, the vegetables, the insects, the animals, everything you can imagine. Now, how long this has been going on, I don't know. Did God do this? I don't know. I was told that. I read that. I've been living long enough to figure out that people lie. Are they lying about that? I don't know. And there's no way I can judge as to whether they were lying about that or not. I do, however, know that I do walk on an earth, that there are rivers and there's grass and there's dirt and animals and all those other things that I just got through mentioning. They are here. That's evidence. How it got here, I just have to accept what they said or don't let it matter. Just say it's here. And so, for this particular reason that I mentioned this, I want to show you how it relates to the family, the parents. You see, it is said that God, as I referenced earlier, who made all these other things that I can't actually verify, but I ain't got no reason to argue, made us, human beings. And in the process of making human beings, there were certain things that God wanted to make sure that after creating this body, there were some essentials that would be necessary for this body to be maintained, that God didn't put that responsibility in our hands. For instance, the oxygen that we need that comes through the air we breathe, that was taken out of our hand. If we can suck in, blow out, we probably got some oxygen. Another thing, my friends, is the blood that flows through your veins. Now that blood flows through your veins, and it does something by going through all over your body. It has some mechanism at play, at work, that's feeding that body to enable it to stay healthy to a certain degree just by doing that. There are other things still, but some of those things are essentially left in the hands of the power that made you. But the power that made you also, and for your survival, requires some other things that that God put in our hands for us to be able to negotiate, to determine when and where and how much and all of that. That was a choice that was given to us. But it is essential, nevertheless, for survival, like food and clothing and shelter and education and healthcare. So, with those things and all of the resources that has already been provided by God on the earth, in the earth, above the earth, seen or unseen, hey, we should be ready to have heaven on earth. That's what that parent was thinking about as he put us here. Putting all of this knowledge inside our spirit, inside our hearts, driving us. But to make sure that we would be able to maintain existence on this earth, God required that each of us participate in the production of those things that are essential for survival. And he made it very interesting by giving each of us a little dap of this, a little dap of that. And those little daps represent our participation in the creative process. So rather than us making a chair, maybe we discovered some material that was used in the paint. Or we discovered that wood could be used, or nails could be used, and all the different things that could be used coming from different people. And as we deal with building whatever we're building, we use the materials that are most essential for doing what we do. So all of the people are engaged in the process based upon what the Creator has instilled in us as our part. And as we do our part, gave us something that gives us joy, not just to be out there what we call work. You know how people say, well, I don't like that job. That's work. That's too all that kind of stuff. No. God gave us something that when you discover what it is, you're excited. It's like an athlete playing the sports that he loves. It's like a teacher doing what she loves doing. It's like an engineer doing, they're so excited about it. A doctor doing, so excited about it. I mean, everybody's excited about what they're doing. So it's easy for them to do it, especially when they are playing a part in meeting the needs of the human race. And God was fantastic in that. That way we would have heaven on earth. Ain't that beautiful? Nobody's hungry, nobody's suffering. Everybody got their needs met, their wants and their desires. People are living. They are glorifying life. There's no crime and violence. There's no lying, no cheating, no stealing. No hatred, no racism, no bigotry. All of these things are left somewhere else. We never heard them before based upon God's plan. Oh my God. As soon as you got ready to walk out that door, there was that other pressure out there. There was that pressure out there that wanted to argue with God and say they could come up with something better than God. In America, they called it, I'm not going to go all over the world, because that might be too big for you to stretch your mind all over that. So let's bring it on back to America. In America, they say, well, we're going to beat that. We're going to come up with something a little bit better than God. We're going to come up with capitalism. Capitalism, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the exercise of attaining those precious essentials necessary for survival that God has set up that you can just do and enjoy and benefit from. We're going to change that around. And we're going to put a bait on a hook called money. And in order to do any of those things, you're going to have this money. So, in other words, we're going to come up with a system of cunning and make you believe that the oil and all of the resources in the earth belongs to people other than you. Whoever had the ingenuity to come up with how to process and create and deliver, they're going to be a part of our team. We're special people, you know. We are unique. We have basic gifts that you don't have. We are the reason that things exist. And so we deserve more than you and yours and all that kind of good stuff. It all belongs to us. And they convince people like you and I that they can enjoy life better than the life that God planned, because over here you can have more than your amount of food that's needed for you to eat. You can have more than that means of transportation that you have to take you from one place to another. You can have unlimited access to transportation. Not God's way, but capitalism way. You can have the kind of homes that you always dreamed of. And to make sure that you could have the kind of home that you dreamed of, we're going to put other people in tents. We're going to put them in ghettos. We're going to put them in swallow places. We're going to make them look like nothing, stuff that you definitely don't want to be a part of it. Hey. And so you're coming over here on our side of town. Now that's the peer pressure. That's the peer pressure that is being presented to the people of the earth. And the people of the earth, just like the kids that your parents, your physical parents bring up a way they want them to stay, and they can't wait to do their own thing. And out here where God has set a symbol up so you can have heaven on earth where your needs are met, you can't wait to get caught up in the capitalism. How many people in America today turn their back on capitalism? There might be some, I think they had some people called, you know, the people with the long black beards and maybe all dressed in black. I can't think of the name of them right now. It'll come to me in a minute, I guess. And they ride the horses and buggies and stuff like this. They separate themselves so they don't want to be a part of. Well, now you can go in the stores now and you can find that they are producing products that they can engage themselves in the capitalist system. Now, we've created a system of government based upon capitalism, not based upon God, based upon capitalism and capitalism's way, not God's way, where everybody's happy. Capitalism way, where in America the white man wants to be God. And I say it again, where in America the white man wants to be God. That doesn't mean that every white man wants to be God. That means that white man, for the most practical purposes, wanted to be God. And even those who are white who don't want to be God gets the benefit of being the same color as those who want to be God. And here we are in the middle of all this mix. And so for 30 years at least, I didn't care about this. I didn't worry about this. I was just like everybody else. But after then, now for the past 38 years, I've been out here trying to wake us up, tell us, hey, this is a different kind of world. We can live and enjoy. We don't have to have this and this trouble and nobody's listening. So what does the parent do when the children don't listen? They stand back. They tired of the headaches. And they says, come on, child. Come on, daughter. Come on, son. You've been around long enough now. Go out into the world and make your choice. And they go out there and make their choice. Now that don't mean that every last one of them become whores and gigolos or all that other addicts and all that. No, not everybody gets engaged in that stuff to the extent that it corrupts them, but a heck of a lot of them do. And even the ones who might not go to that extent got their own limitations that they engage themselves into. Same way when it comes down to the system of the world. They walk straight out there in it. But in our day and time, there's nothing else in the world, in America, but capitalism. But all the things that capitalism represents, and that's anti-God. That's all that's out here. When you go to the church, what do you think the church is about? The church is not about God. The church is about capitalism. Capitalism. That's what the church is about. They'll talk about God, but ain't nothing happening till it's plate time. Pass the plate. Give me that money. And got the people so confused that they think the bigger your church is, the bigger and closer you are to God. And they are telling the truth, because your God is money. And the more money you got, the closer you are to the devil. The more money you got, the closer you are to the devil. You want to see somebody that hates somebody? Let them have a lot of money. You say, Bill Gates and them got a lot of money. They don't hate people. They giving money. You believe that if you want to. You believe that if you want to. That money that's sitting up there running over in those barns and just running over, piling over, running into the lakes and running into the earth, and nobody can get it. That represents their love for you when you out there living in a tent. So what am I saying? I'm saying just like the kids who had to go out there, some of them learned, some of them changed their way, like I did. But many of them don't. And then even those that do sometimes wait till they get as gray-headed as I am before they change. And when you get as gray-headed as I am before you change, you probably gonna be going through some changes for real. Because you, what they call old in your ways. And they say there's no fool like an old fool. And if you haven't changed by the time you got old, you are a fool. Now, to wrap this up, I still have decided that I would, as long as I'm alive, right now here in Minnesota, I've asked the people to make me the next senator from the state of Minnesota. And I'm not walking on those basic platforms of the Democratic or Republican Party or political parties. I'm walking on the platform of God want to make things right for all of the people in America, every last one of us. That means being healthy and living like we are in heaven. Righteous and meaning like we're in heaven. Not bending down to Donald Trumps and Grahams and Republican parties and jive time turkeys who think that the Republican Party is better than the Democratic Party. Don't they know it's the same bird? I heard somebody say the other day with a right wing and a left wing, and it doesn't matter what is going on. Any way that bird wants to fly, that's the way they're going to go. It doesn't matter if it's the right wing or the left wing. You're still taking the body of the bird. And so the systems of the government here in America, whether it's capitalism, socialism, or whether it's Republican or Democrat, it's all going the same way. This time the Democrats might be leading it. Next time might be the Republicans leading it. But where are they going? They're going exactly where that bird wants to go. And where is that bird? That bird is capitalism. And everything that thinks is on top in America, that's what that bird is. And what is that bird doing? Trying to tell people God don't mean nothing. God is a figment of your imagination. If you keep on believing that stuff, you're out of your mind. In fact, that which you were taught to hate like the devil, it is the devil that freed you from that monster called God. Boy, this is some crazy stuff that you have to live and go through in this world. Yet, it is all real. Well, I thought I made a note here that I wanted to refer to. Oh yeah, and as you walk out there in capitalism, you're gonna find out the more you lie, the more you cheat, the more you steal, the more you're gonna get. The bigots that you are, the racists that you display, all of that hate and stuff, it kind of benefits you in the world of capitalism. It benefits you in the world of anti-God. So, as parents have to turn their kids loose and let them go out there in the world and find out that the parents were aware of what was going on, so is it that God has set the situation up where he just allow us to go ahead on our way. He said, I'm not going to treat you like the devil. The devil take you and lock you in jail. The devil try to get every piece of information that he can get on you and try to embarrass you and make you look foolish while he makes himself look good to hold you to conformity. And they will imprison you and throw your butt in jail forever, or they will kill you. This is the systems of the world absent God. But God says, I'll let you go on over there. And if you plant this seed, this is the kind of fruit you're going to get. If you sow this, this is what you're going to get back. This is to be your education. This is to be your learning. So if you go in champion injustice, you're going to lose all the peace. There will be no peace where injustice operates. This lying and coveting and stuff like that is going to create all kinds of problems. So we go out and step outside of God's realm. We step all outside of it and go out there doing what the devil says. Next thing you know, we got World War I, World War II, threatening World War III, the Korean conflict, Vietnam. We got every kind of thing you can think of going on. And in 2016, just the other day, they had an election in the United States of America where they put two evil individuals up there. You think they weren't? Put Donald Trump up there and go back and check out what every Democrat said about Donald Trump, and even Republicans. Go back. You don't think the Democrats were evil? Put Miss Clinton out there and go back and see what every Republican and even some Democrats said about Miss Clinton. It was no doubt in any human being's mind. God might have had a different attitude, but in every human being's mind, each one of these people represented evil. And they did not know what to do with it. Osteen, I don't care how much he preached about this great God, stand back and watch the glory of God work in your behalf while you sitting down waiting for him to do it. I don't care what T.D. Jakes told you. I don't know what Miss Joyce Meyer told you, all these other people told you. It didn't mean nothing. You went down to those polls and voted for evil. And now today, that amount of evil on the Republican side got all kind of support from evangelicals, from fundamentalists of the religion. Sitting up there calling themselves associated with God, riding a basket with the devil. And why did I say the devil? Because that's where the path is leading. That's where that chariot is going, straight to hell. And I don't have to say, well, how you know you ain't nowhere? Well, you're in hell. You don't have to talk about going somewhere where the fire is burning. It's burning here. You don't have to talk about going somewhere where the floods are occurring. They're occurring here. You don't have to go in a place talking about all of the other things that could be happening someplace. It's happening here today. And you can't stop it because you won't stop it because you're caught up in the trap of something called capitalism. Now, maybe you feel better than saying capitalism than saying Republicans or Democrats or saying white man or black man. Maybe capitalism just make you feel like I ain't talking about you. I'm talking about you. But for me, what am I supposed to do? What are the teachers of God supposed to do? The teachers of God know that what your needs are. God knows what he prepared for. And if you're living in a world that is taken over by capitalism, and I'm just using capitalism because that's where we are, and you decide to stay God's way and capitalism has taken over, that means you will not have food, clothing, and shelter. Not like God designed it for you. And in fact, if you give in to capitalism a little bit, just to try to survive, you're going to be living in ghettos, you're going to be living in tents. But my point that I'm trying to make is this, is that this, still trying to serve God, You're not going to have adequate education because it's not free. You're not going to have adequate health care because it's not free. You're not going to have the things of life that makes life worthwhile. Why? Because it's not free. So what does it happen to? So what does that mean to people who are trying to serve God? Do you just say, well, God, I need a place to stay, and you won't provide it for me, so I'm going to go here and join capitalism. I'm going to go here and join with the devil. You ready to go? Okay, it's time for me to take my daughter to drop off at school right now, so I'm going to cut this conversation short, but you know what I was about to go with this, and I don't have to say any more to help you to understand, because you know exactly what I'm talking about, especially you parents. Until next time, this is Eddie Marker, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. Say bye-bye.